All right, hey, welcome back to the Quarantine Classic, week number 3. Not real happy about another week going by where we don't get to be together on a Wednesday night. It's not a normal I'm liking right now, but the day will come when we get to meet back together again and be ready to be welcomed with a big high five or a hug or whatever comes your way. We'll see where the Spirit leads. But for now, I just got a word of wisdom for you out of James chapter 4, verse 8. Okay, here's your quarantine wisdom for the day. It says this: cleanse your hands, you sinners. All right, you guys got that? Wash your hands. No, in all seriousness, I hope you guys are doing well out there at your homes. You should wash your hands, okay? Practicing good personal hygiene is always something we want to encourage here from the Alive Youth Group on lots of levels, all right? We do talk about that from time to time, especially with retreats getting close. But no, that's just a little fun word of wisdom for you. But I did want to take a few minutes here just to kind of give you a devotional thought since we can't be together tonight on a Wednesday. And you know, in the kind of the current context we're in, the situation we're all dealing with, we're experiencing a range of different emotions, everything from anger and frustration because things are being canceled and we're kind of, stuck in a spot and we're not seeing people like we're used to. So we're feeling, anger and frustration, I'm sure, at times, to, genuine concern, worry, anxiety. Will things get back to normal? Who's going to be affected by, this global health pandemic, and how close is it going to affect me? And, what's the future look like? Are major changes in store? And so we've got this range of emotions kind of going on. And that's par for the course. We're humans in that. And I wanted to give you guys a verse here from John chapter 16. And so with Easter coming around the corner, that's exactly where we find Jesus and his disciples in this context. He's actually sitting down with them at the Last Supper, scenario. And he's got a lot to say to them, but kind of right in the middle, he says this, starting in chapter 16 again, verse 32. He said, "Behold, the hour is coming. Indeed, it has come, when you will be scattered, each to his own home, and will leave me alone. Yet I am not alone, for the Father is with me." Then he says, "I have said these things to you, that in me you may have peace. In the world you will have tribulation, but take heart, I have overcome the world." And so here we find Jesus at a point in his own earthly life where he knew the future for him was not bright. It was actually pretty bleak, and he knew what was coming in the next day. And for that matter, he knew what was coming for his disciples in the upcoming days, weeks, and years as well. And as far as their earthly prosperity is concerned, it wasn't looking good for them, okay? They weren't putting money into retirement savings, and they weren't, thinking about, their next career move or, the big social gathering that they were all, looking forward to. Not that they didn't have some of those things on their minds, but they were in a unique setting, and again, just their earthly future, again, as far as Jesus knew, wasn't bright for them. And so he takes this time at this final supper of theirs to kind of warn them or brace them for what's ahead. And he says trials and tribulations may come, or trials and tribulations will come. And while we aren't the disciples and our tribulations aren't going to be the same as theirs, we do live in a world that is just riddled with sin, and we experience that each and every day. And for that matter, our globe is experiencing that right now. Everyone around the world is being affected by this coronavirus, and it's just another example of the brokenness, that sin caused when it entered the world, all the way back in Genesis chapter 3. And so that's the biblical narrative coming all the way up to today. So we experience sin personally in our own lives, but the world, the earth, experiences it as well. And this virus is an example of it. And it's affecting us in unique ways also. But I want you guys to just hear what Jesus says to his disciples and take it to heart, okay? And he says, take heart. Don't be shaken. Be established in your faith. Take heart, because tribulations will come. So we can have a firm, established faith. We can go through our day and go through seasons, go through a global pandemic and not be shaken. Why? How? Well, he gives the answer immediately. He says, because I have overcome the world. I have overcome the world. So Jesus, the one who was there at the creation, the one who sustains the world as it is the one who says, I have overcome this world. And we follow in his wake. Okay? We follow in Jesus' wake. And so we do not need to be afraid, because Jesus is setting the course for us. Now, that does not mean that things are going to always work out for us. And if you've been in the student ministry for any length of time, I try and caution you against that mindset, because you'll hear teachers and preachers, Christian teachers and preachers, say that, when you commit to following Jesus, he's going to bless you and things are going to work out for you. Doors are going to open and you'll get, a scholarship and you're going to get these jobs. And I want to caution you against those promises, because they're empty promises. That doesn't mean your life's going to be terrible, but it doesn't mean your life's going to be full of worldly opportunities and blessings because you follow Jesus either. And so actually, if we want to think about the road that Jesus walked and the road that the disciples walked, we know that, like Jesus said, tribulations are going to come. And so I can't sit here today, even though it's April 1st, and say that everything's going to work out. We're all going to be okay. Because the fact of the matter is, likely someone that you know, if they haven't already contracted this coronavirus, someone you know is going to get it. You might contract the virus yourself. It's possible that it might take someone's life who you know. And so it is going to affect us. We are going to see the ramifications of it. However, despite the things that we are experiencing, despite the physical setbacks that we may experience as a result of it, we can take heart through it, because we know that our hope is beyond this world. And so that's where the gospel comes back into play for us. And that despite the fact that Jesus endured the effects of sin, our sin, he came out on the other side on Easter Sunday and was victorious over it. And he is an overcomer. And so we, like I said, we follow in Jesus's footsteps. We follow in his wake, and we'll experience tribulation, but at the same time, we will experience victory in the end. Not necessarily in this life or in this season, but we've got a hope, an eternal hope that goes beyond this world, that changes the way that we walk through days like this. And so take heart. Take heart not in your own righteousness or good works. Don't take heart in your own health and feeling of immunity because you're young and healthy. None of those things are promises. Good works aren't going to get you anywhere. It's only by the blood of Jesus that we get to experience that overcoming here in this world, and have a hope for what's next for us. And so there you go, a little quarantine thought for you to keep things in perspective as we go through it. All right. I love you guys, and I'll see you soon.